Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel of Transparent Homeschool. My name is Beth, and today's video is one that has been on my heart for a while, and I just haven't had the time to sit down and make it, so I am doing that right now. And this video doesn't necessarily specifically apply to just homeschooling parents. This is for all parents, and so if you find yourself resonating with this video, I really hope that it helps in some way. But I am going to be talking about busyness, the trap of busyness, being busy. How many times have we heard, oh, I'm too busy for blank, or man, I just feel like this season we're so busy. It is a trap, and it is a purposeful one, and I'm going to talk about it a little later as to why. But for right now, I just want to kind of highlight some things that being busy does to us. And I say us, not just moms, but just parents in general. I do have some notes I will be referencing every once in a while. And so here's the first thing. And it's pretty obvious, and I think it's the biggest one. And that is, if you're too busy with your kids and activities, then you're not spending time as a family. If you are doing all the things with all of the kids, then you are sacrificing other things. One of the reasons I think we fall into this trap is because somehow it's become a thing where, like, the more busy you are, the better parent you are, and I don't know where that came from, because it's like almost the opposite. Because if you're too busy, you feel stretched thin. You get overwhelmed easily, and you get burnt out. And when you get to that stage of burnout, you just become this, like, you become frustrated. You become mean and snippy, and you don't have a heart of rest. You don't have a heart of peace or joy, because you're so busy that there's no time for all of those things. And so, like, when you're tired and grumpy, that's not being the best parent. And so, like, that's the idea, the stereotype is that if my kids are just, like, in more things, then that's going to make me, like, have more time to myself or whatever. But then I think you forget that you're the one who has to take your kids to these things. So anyway, that's just, it's always confused me when, like, I believe that. When I believe that my kids need to be doing more things to have, like, a better education, or if I'm going to be the best parent, I need to put my kids in more things. It's actually the opposite. The next thing is, I believe that it creates a wrong list of priorities. And here's what I mean. I'm going to use an example from my own life. So a few years ago, we had my son in a travel soccer league. And again, I don't think activities are bad. They're not. However, this particular travel league, it was a select league, and we had to practice twice a week for 2 hours. Now, luckily, we lived in a small town, and my husband's work was very close to the soccer field where we practiced, and so it was very easy for him. Like, if I took him with the other kids, he could just meet us there. And then the other great thing was that there was, like, a playground there and, like, a picnic area. So sometimes I would bring snacks. We would eat there, and that would kind of be like our dinner. And then the kids could play. The other kids could play on the playground. And then we could all leave, go back home, and we would have another snack. But what I found was that we were sacrificing a lot of time at home, like during the night, to do other things like Bible studies with the family, or family movie nights, or game nights, or just being with our kids, cleaning the house, having family dinners. Those were the kinds of things that I found that I was missing by having so much time spent away from the house. The second part of that story is that all of the tournaments were on the weekends. And this became very apparent to me the first weekend, and it was that we were not able to go to church on Sunday morning, because that's when a lot of the tournaments happen. They'll happen, like, on Saturday, and then they'll carry over to Sunday. So by being in this league and having to miss Sundays, right? So the thought process is this: oh, it's just one Sunday a month that we're missing. And that sets a dangerous precedent, and it shows our kids that we are prioritizing other things over going to church as a family. And so that is something that I found very quickly, and I knew that for me, this could not happen. So we finished out the season, and then I talked to my husband, and he and I both agreed, no more. We will not be doing this anymore, because it, again, shows our kids what we prioritize, and what we prioritize, they learn to do the same thing. The other thing about being busy, especially with activities, and I don't know if you guys have seen this lately, but things are really expensive, because it's not just paying for the activity, it's buying all the equipment for it, and the uniforms for it, and this for it, and that for it, driving there, driving back. So it all adds up. And if you have a lot of these activities going on, a lot of times it can be like almost a house payment to try to pay all of the tuitions and all of the fees and all of the things. So just think about that. Like, think about what you could be using your money for otherwise. Again, I'm not saying all activities are bad, because they're not. I think that letting kids express their interests and going after things that they might be interested in is a good thing. What I'm specifically talking about is when we overload our schedules purposefully to try to do all of the things all the time. So, like, what about this example? And this happened to me a couple of years ago. We had something to do on Monday night. One of my kids, I think, had it was a Monday evening gymnastics class from 4 to 5, okay? So we did that on Monday evenings, and then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays we have our Bible study in the morning, and then on Wednesday nights we had, after we got back from our Bible study, we had a few hours, and then we had to leave because I worked at Wednesday night in our children's program at our church. And then on Thursday night, my other child had ballet in the morning. And then on Friday, my son had karate, Friday afternoon for 2 hours. So we were out of the house doing something every single day of the week. And I do not joke when I tell you I was so exhausted by the end of that semester. I had to cut back on something. And the problem is that we all get to that point, and some of us don't cut back. We just keep doing it because we think that that's what we're supposed to be doing, because being busy is a good thing. It's not a good thing. I don't have a magic, here's how you organize your schedule to fit in all the things. I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'm actually going to take you to a very simple idea, and it has actually really freed me up to realign my priorities with what's going on in our lives. And here it is. It's profound. Just say no. Just say no. It's okay. It is okay to say no, and your kids are going to be okay. And I know that sounds mean, and I know that sounds like I'm telling you to hold your kids back for things, but just hear me out. If you have multiple kids, maybe what you could do, and I've had lots of friends who do this with lots of kids, you allow one child each semester to choose an activity, and everybody does that one activity. Because a lot of times what happens is places will have sibling discounts. And so if you have more than one child, your tuition gets cheaper and cheaper as you add in kids. And if they can all do it at the same time, you're only driving one place a week for all of your kids' activity. And then the next semester you go to another kid and they get to choose something. Could be the same thing, it could be different. And that way you're letting all of your kids experience different things, but you're all doing it as a family together. So I have heard that too. Another thing that I have found, especially with activities, I'm going to get to another kind of busy topic in a second, but as far as activities, extracurriculars, always pray before you add something new in. Because a lot of times we skip this part because we think, one, doing more things is right, it's good. And then two, a lot of times what happens is even if it's a Christian-based thing, we think that is worthy of our time. I'm not saying that it's not, but I am saying I think we skip the step of praying through it before we jump in. And if you prayerfully walk through all of your activities, I guarantee you the Spirit will move and say, maybe you're doing too much. The Spirit might even tell you, this is something that you can let go of. Might ask you to consider adding something else and letting something else go. I don't know how your life is, but for me, I had to prayerfully walk through each of my activities and say, what is the priority here? And is it possible for me to let it go? And I let go of 2 things during my week, and it was absolutely life-changing. It was like a breath of relief in my soul. And I say that, and it's silly to hear, but it's like, it's necessary to hear. And the last thing is like, you know, impromptu experiences are good. So if you just like randomly get invited to something, that's not being busy. That's kind of like trying something new. And it might just be a one-time thing, but it might be something that you can revisit in a couple of weeks when maybe, you know, one of your activities finishes. So for example, my niece was doing this like short-term archery class, and she invited my son to go, and he really wanted to go, so he went and really enjoyed it. So you don't know what's going to come from these impromptu experiences. So don't be like, again, if you are so busy, then you're not going to be able to do those kinds of impromptu things. If you have, you know, sports practices every day of the week and you're never eating with your family, then you're not going to have those like, oh, so-and-so invited me to this. Can I go? Sure, if you want to. And that can be hard. What I want to leave you with, okay, is the trap of busyness. Why does it matter? Why is it a bad thing to be busy? And I already kind of said one thing in the beginning about being like frustrated, anxious, and burnout and tired. But the second and the deeper, more real reason is because we have an enemy who doesn't want us to spend time with our families. The enemy knows that the family is the most powerful social organization that our children will ever belong to, and the less time that they can spend with their family, the better. So when we spend time, intentional time, protected time as a family, we create a strong family unit. Strong children come from strong family units. And when you have a strong family unit, it produces strong kids. Strong kids grow up to be strong adults. And strong adults are not easily swayed by the culture. And so that's why busyness is a thing. That was pretty heavy, but if you think about it, you know that it's true. So I leave you with, again, the secret to all of this is to say no. It's okay to say no. It's really long. I didn't mean to go that far, but again, I just get carried away about things that I'm passionate about. So that is my video on the trap of busyness, and the answer to combating that is to pray through things and to say no when you know they're not good or when you don't have time. Don't overload, just say no. Everybody will be okay. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.